The US government has kept secrets, dark ones. From mind control to mass spying, these aren't conspiracies, they're facts. Here are the top 10 dark secrets the US government tried to hide, and the last one will blow your mind. Welcome back to the channel that digs where others won't. Today we uncover 10 of the darkest secrets the US government tried to bury. Scandals, cover-ups, and crimes against its own people. They were hidden for years, only exposed through leaks, whistleblowers, and declassified documents. Let's get into it. Project Sunshine. In the 1950s, the US government initiated Project Sunshine, a program that involved stealing human body parts, often from dead infants and children, without the consent of their families. Why? To test the effects of nuclear fallout on human tissue. Researchers collected hundreds of samples, bones, organs, skin, from across the globe to study radioactive absorption. Families were never informed. The truth came out in the mid-1990s when declassified documents revealed this horrifying experiment. It was a brutal reminder that in the name of science and military advancement, even the most basic human rights can be discarded. Operation Northwoods. In the early 1960s, US military leaders devised a plan called Operation Northwoods. What was it? A proposal to commit acts of false flag terrorism on American soil, including hijacking planes, sinking boats, and staging shootings, and then blaming Cuba to justify a war. Yes, the US military actually proposed killing or endangering its own citizens to create public support for military action. President Kennedy rejected the plan, and the documents were classified for decades. They've since been declassified, and they're chilling. It's proof that some leaders were willing to manufacture war through manipulation and bloodshed. Cointel Pro, Counterintelligence Program. During the 1950s through the 1970s, the FBI ran a secret project called Cointel Pro. Its goal: to infiltrate, discredit, and destroy civil rights groups, anti-war movements, and any organization labeled as a threat to national security, including Martin Luther King Jr., the Black Panthers, and even feminist organizations. The FBI wiretapped phones, forged documents, and used psychological warfare to break apart communities and destroy reputations. This wasn't about crime prevention. It was about controlling public dissent. It exposed how the government used manipulation and fear to suppress political opposition. MK-Ultra, mind control experiments. One of the most infamous secrets in US history, Project MK-Ultra. Run by the CIA in the 1950s and 60s, this covert operation aimed to develop mind control techniques for use in interrogations and psychological warfare. The agency dosed unsuspecting citizens with LSD, hypnotized them, and subjected them to sensory deprivation, electroshock, and even torture. Patients were left with permanent psychological damage. Some died. Most victims never knew they were part of an experiment. When the project was exposed in the 1970s, it sparked outrage. But to this day, most MK-Ultra documents were destroyed, making it nearly impossible to know the full scope of the abuses. The Tuskegee syphilis study. In 1932, the US Public Health Service began a study in Tuskegee, Alabama, on the effects of untreated syphilis in black men. The catch? The 600 men involved weren't told they had syphilis. Even after penicillin became a known cure in the 1940s, the men were deliberately denied treatment so researchers could observe the disease's natural progression. The study lasted for 40 years. Many of the men died slow, painful deaths. Others infected their wives and passed the disease to their children. Mass domestic surveillance, PRISM and X-Keyscore. In 2013, former NSA contractor Edward Snowden leaked classified documents showing that the US government was spying on its own citizens on a massive scale. Through programs like PRISM and X-Keyscore, the NSA collected emails, phone calls, browsing history, and even webcam images, all without warrants. Millions of Americans were under surveillance, not because they were suspects, but just because they existed. Despite the backlash, very little changed. It was a wake-up call. In the digital age, privacy is a myth, and the government is always watching. Operation Paperclip. After World War II, the US secretly recruited over 1,600 Nazi scientists, engineers, and technicians to work for American military and aerospace programs. This operation was called Project Paperclip. Some of these individuals were directly involved in war crimes, including human experimentation and forced labor. Yet they were given new identities and clean records. Why? Because the US didn't want the Soviets to get them first. The most famous recruit was Wernher von Braun, who played a key role in developing the US space program. It's a disturbing example of morality being sacrificed for technological, the Gulf of Tonkan incident. The Vietnam War was escalated after an alleged attack on US ships in the Gulf of Tonkin in 1964. But years later, declassified documents revealed that the second attack, the one used to justify full-scale military involvement, never happened. President Lyndon B. Johnson knew it was a false report, but used it anyway to convince Congress to approve the war. Guatemala human experiments. Between 1946 and 1948, US doctors, backed by government agencies, intentionally infected Guatemalan prisoners, mental patients, and soldiers with syphilis and gonorrhea, without their consent. The goal was to study how the diseases spread and how penicillin could treat them. Over 1,300 people were involved. Many were never treated. This grotesque experiment remained hidden for decades until it was exposed in 2010. Forcing President Obama to issue a public apology. Contingency plans to suspend the Constitution. And now, the darkest secret of all. The existence of contingency plans to suspend the US Constitution during a national emergency. Known as Continuity of Government, COG plans. These were developed during the Cold War and updated after 9/11. They include secret executive orders and procedures that could allow for martial law, the suspension of habeas corpus, the arrest of dissenters, and the indefinite delay of elections. These documents are highly classified. Even members of Congress don't know their full contents. Whistleblowers and investigative journalists have confirmed their existence, raising serious concerns about how much unchecked power the executive branch can seize in a crisis. So there, you have it. 10 dark secrets the US government tried to bury. Some were exposed by brave whistleblowers. Others leaked out over time. But all of them prove one thing. The truth doesn't always come from those in power. Sometimes it has to be dragged out piece by piece. And while we may want to believe that governments exist to protect us, history shows that power unchecked can easily turn into power abused. If this video opened your eyes or gave you something to think about, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more truth-telling, eye-opening content every week. Because in a world full of secrets, we believe you deserve to know.